think we might just glue that in there. Again, I'm going to use hot glue down there. A bit across there, a bit down there, I think. Down there. Right. Tape now to all these parts together. With hot glue you have to work fairly quickly, unfortunately. In some respects it's good, and others it's not so good because you have to work so quickly with it. Whereas with foam tack or something like that, you can actually work a little slower. Foam tack like Ubuco or something like that. That's looking good. I like to keep lots of little scraps of foam board for wiping the glue inside the joints. Okay, as you can see in there, we've got semblance of the front nose piece. One thing with hot glue is if the pieces are not quite fitting right, it does tend to melt the foam slightly, like that, so we can squeeze them together. And as they will melt into the foam and make for a tight joint. With foam board, not quite so easy because these joints have got to be pretty good. With Depron, there's a chance I can sand this back or fill it if I'm going to paint it. I can put some spack filler in there. Whereas with the foam board, especially if you're leaving the paper on, you don't have that luxury. The joints have got to be pretty good if you're leaving the paper on, because what you see is what you get. With Depron, which is one of the reasons I wanted to use this, I can sand these edges whilst the the hot glue doesn't sound that well, I can trim it, sand it, and if necessary I can put a bit of spack filler in there and then sand it down. Tends to be rather messy stuff, the hot glue. As you can see, that's taking shape quite nicely now. The glue will dry so I can tape off. And that's the front former, which I can glue in place there. It may have made that front former that tiny bit too small. Not to worry, it's taking shape quite nice. Everything seems to be quite square. Now fit the bottom panel in there. We have to do a little bit of trim in here. It's a little bit oversized, so we'll sand that down a bit. Make it fit nicely. standard inner butt to allow it to fit further in. Now that should sit fairly well in there. I just need a little bit more off. Best to be a little bit on the big side. Sand a bit off. Not easy to add a bit on. Let's sand that quite sharp down that edge to allow it to sit in there, because what I did, I left the two bottom edges square. With all the other edges I took out the 45, so this is the reason this has had to go quite a bit deeper. Probably a nicer idea to do it this way. That way I can shape this in my hand a lot easier than I can trying to shape that. Had I taken out that down to a 45 as I've done with the other joints, then I wouldn't have needed to sand that near as much. That's okay. Need a little bit more out there. Okay, I'll run a bead of hot glue down there. Quickly down there, and the same down there. I'm going to sand this round. I'm going to round all the edges of this off once all the glue is dried, so I'm not terribly bothered if it's not a wonderful fit, as it would have to be again if I was using foam board with a paper on. It would have to be a pretty good fit. She's looking pretty good. Okay. Packet is looking pretty good. Before I go any further, I might see if I can find the formers for this back area. Remember this one, the patterns, the plans and the patterns have not been tested on this one, so we may find the odd little mistake that we have to rectify on the plans, but so far it seems to be going not too bad. I'm going to take off. I'm going to remove the tape. From the joints. Okay. I can now stand the I want to try and round some of these areas off a little, and it's probably going to tear a bit on the hot roll. But that's okay, because what I'll do, I'll just then put a little bit of fat filler in. For the corners rather than being really sharp, to be a little rounded. So hot glue is not really the best glue for doing areas where you need to sand. Now this bit here, I'm going to leave a little bit of sharp edge there, because I believe on the real one it is quite sharp along that edge. Round it up a little bit towards the nose. Okay, I can probably do some more sanding on that, and probably will, and as I say, a little bit of spack filler on some of these joints, but that's basically the front section.